we see that everyone adores Krishna. And it's shown that when Srimati Radharani is born, there's the Leela where Srimati Radharani is always crying, whatever, and but when they start singing Krishna's songs and mentioning Krishna, she's pacified. Yeah. But for most of the time when she was a young child, she would have her eyes closed. She wouldn't open her eyes. But as soon as Krishna's name was mentioned, the eyes were opened. Only eyes for Krishna. This is what is given to us. We must be absorbed in our minds on Krishna. You know, there's that shloka, which I'm forgetting already. And when I get to speak, I forget all my shlokas. But it's the one where Tyajadanta Klevram, Yam Yam Smapi Bharamavam, Tyajadanti Klevram, Tam Tamevi Konti Sadadad Bhava. When someone is at the time of birth, at the time of your own passing from this world, what you remember at the time of passing is what you will be in the next life, it's said. So that's why if you're absorbed in Krishna, and if you're thinking of his Leela, you're thinking of Gurudev even, or thinking anything to do with his Leelas, then that you will go somewhere which will higher than, you may not necessarily go back home, but you'll go somewhere higher than this birth. So everything, this Leela, Krishna coming, everybody becomes focused on Krishna. When he is born, the Brahmins come and make obeisances. The things given in charity, they're giving in charity to Nanda Maharaj. The gopis come and there's a special preparation made from milk, yogurt, ghee, and what is the other one? Turmeric, and giving to him, and actually anointing baby Krishna. The very reason for their existence is before them. They know this more than others, and everybody in their different relationship is that. It's that kind of focus that we should have. It's like when we got young children here. Are we like them? They come in here, we see Balaram and the other children, often they're playing on the front of the altar and they're completely absorbed. It's that kind of absorption. Balaram in the mornings is like getting Radharani and getting Vidachandra out. I want to go to Mangalati. Come on. And as soon as he gets in the house, he's like this. We know all the young children do this, and they go through the phase where they're not so engaged. But it's that kind of thing, that kind of beautiful simplicity that we have to recultivate in us. When you see it in the children, sometimes I'm very moved by it. It actually moves me here. It's that kind of sweetness that must be there in our dealings with amongst devotees and in our Krishna's conscious practicing life. And this is what these Leelas demonstrate. Yet, it's surrounded by such heavy things go on, the killing of the demons and the threats and the threats to Krishna conscious practice life. Even for Krishna, they're demonstrating this. But if you're completely surrendered, then no harm can touch you. It says in the Svetashvara Upanishad, that the super soul, the analogy of two birds in a tree, there's the super soul within and the jiva. The protection of the Lord, if he embraces guardianship, works on the basis that because he's in the heart of every living entity, if you are surrendered to him, in the hearts of other living entities, you will tell them not to harm. You will direct them in some way not to harm. This is our protection, actually, and we can see that clearly with Vasudeva, when he, as I spoke yesterday, when he is going to Gokul and he's carrying, as I said, divine love in his hands. The Emporium All Rasa, Akila Rasamrita Sindhu, the Emporium All Rasa in his arms, crossing the Jamuna to go to Gokul and surrendering and taking your baby girl back, which was none other than Durga Devi. And he's coming back, and when he comes back, he puts the shackles back on himself and back on Yashoda, so that, and then Yoga Nidra has happened, where everybody's asleep and it all happens. Then they wake, and but I'm not going to go into all of that really, because it's not relevant today for today's talk. But it's that kind of, yeah, Vasudeva is also frightened, he's also fearful of Kamsa. But he knows, he's embracing that guardianship of the Lord, Sharanagati. It's like to a zillionth degree, you know, like unbelievable surrender. And that goes on, he's humble, he's showing all the features of Sharanagati actually. And we have to strive, we can never be like that actually, I don't think we can be like that. That would be foolishness to think, but still that should inspire us to have some faith that we will be protected, that the Lord will protect us. I once spoke to Srila Govinda Maharaj regarding these leelas, and I said, Maharaj, you said all these leelas of Krishna killing all the different demons, Bakasa, the Kaliya demon, the Madhu demon, all these demons. I said, is this these leelas, are they there to put off though the insincere people who come to Krishna consciousness or come approach? Are they there to protect the devotees? Even now, I said, protect the devotees from malign influence. Yes, Kanali, he said, they hide the inner leelas. The outer, these leelas, although they're the greatest leelas, great leelas, the glorious leelas of destroying these demons. They hide the inner leela from the envious. Okay, the inner leelas are the sweet leelas of these pastimes with the butter thief and playing with the cowherd boys and cowherd girls, and the higher pastimes of the greatest pastimes of the Lord, the Rasa Leela and all these things. They hide the killing of the demon. Hide those leelas. It surrounds them to protect them as from the envious. So that understanding, so Gurudev explained that to me and confirmed that to me, was very, very uplifting actually. Not to worry about the things that go on in the world. All those things are going on. We just practice our Krishna consciousness life under the radar, as it were. Let it go on. Don't be troubled by it. We actually can simply ignore it. Simply ignore it and let the Lord protect us. Yeah. Simple as that. Okay, I think I've spoken enough now, because Arti will be coming upon us very quickly. So, Vishakha, please. Was that okay?
Yes, wonderful. Okay. Yeah.
I didn't say anything wrong? No? Or make a mistake or whatever?
We are very appreciative of your deep faith.
Well, I don't think I have that deep faith actually, but I'm trying to somehow develop that deep faith. We shall see.
Okay, well, I'll just say a few words. I'd also like to hear something from Pitambar Prabhu, and maybe Sachi Didi would like to say something about Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. He's like part of our family actually, and we all have some feeling for him, and so. But I just want to say a few words about the Nandotsav festival also, because we heard from Gurudev. We heard Gurudev on this day speaking very joyfully about this day, how when it was discovered that this beautiful baby boy had appeared by the side of Mother Yashoda in the night. Srila Rupa Goswami or Srila Sanatana Goswami, I cannot remember, they describe how there's a cycle that takes place, that Krishna, his pastimes, they go on for some time, and then he leaves to go to Mathura to kill Kamsa and to deal with different royal affairs. And there's always he gives the promise, and there's always the expectation that he's going to come back, and 100 years pass by. They're waiting for him to come back, and it's told then after like so long passes, then everybody's like forgetting in one sense by the influence of Yoga Maya that Krishna had been with them, and they're feeling, oh, Nanda Jashoda, they don't have a son. They should have a son. And then the residents of Braja, they're praying that some son will come. And then Krishna appears, and then this cycle is always taking place, So it's and they're Jnana Shunya Bhaktas, that a child appears by the side of Mother Jashoda, then this is their child, and the news spreads throughout the village, and everyone's very happy, very excited in that morning, and very spontaneously everyone brings many gifts that morning, and as Maharaj mentioned, so many dairy products, sweets, and different types of milk sweets and yogurt and ghee, and they hold this grand festival. And Gurudev also this must all be in the Bhagavatam, and Garga Samhita and other places, but I haven't read. But there was also like a transcendental food fight that took place. Persons throwing these dairy products at each other in their joy, and also so many. Even it's told that the devas did. Shiva, Brahman. They all came, different demigods. Indra, they came in disguise. They wanted to be a part of this like birthday party, you could say. And they're all coming in disguise as cowherd men and joining this festival. And Gurudev also said that there was, it's like some Indian traditional dance stroke play that they have. They call stick play. Or I've also heard it, stick dance, stick fight, some type of like traditional dance play that maybe you saw it. I haven't seen it.
I remember in Hriday, the Vyasas, so they're from Gujarat.
Mm-hmm.
In Gujarat, there's at a certain time, they all come together and they dance with sticks. And when we just came to England, only time we
you saw that.
We were dancing with sticks.
Sticks.
Yeah, there's an Indian tradition.
Yes, some Indian tradition, yeah.
What kind of sticks?
Like a colorful, nice sticks.
Bamboo?
Yeah, probably bamboo inside, and then ribbons and some cloth and some gold lining, right? And dancing with sticks. It's quite interesting.
And so they did that on that day of Nandotsav, Nanda Maharaj's festival. And also Gurudev said Gurudev came from a Goala village, like a cowherd village. And when he said when he came to stay at the Mat, maybe Srila Sridhar Maharaj was inspired by that, but Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he started organizing on this day, this type of stick play in the Mat, on this day. I was surprised because normally we think of Srila Sridhar Maharaj as very conservative, but on this day he liked to organize that. And Gurudev said it continued for a few years, and then finally one year the stick play turned into a stick fight. I think things became a little messy. So there was some blood, he said. So then they stopped it after that. So very, very joyful, very happy day. And one year on this day, Gurudev, he drew some connection between the appearance of Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada on this festival day. We heard that Siddhanti Maharaj, it was in 94 in Hungary, Gurudev gave this, he drew this connection. And as I recall, Siddhanti Maharaj had heard it, but then he forgot what it was. And for years and years afterwards, he was like trying to remember, what was it? Because he was thinking there must be a reason that Swami Maharaj appeared on this day. Like, what is the significance of that? And so Tyagi Maharaj said he heard Siddhanta Maharaj mention this many times. And then just like a few years ago, after Siddhanti Maharaj left the world, Tyagi Maharaj came across these videos of Gurudev in Hungary in '94. And Gurudev said that Krishna, he sent Swami Maharaj to this day, and he told him to spread Krishna consciousness in this type of festive way, you know, like the way that the goalas are like throwing this butter and ghee and yogurt in this very like generous and, you know, free way. You know, you go and you spread Krishna consciousness in this way. You know? And we have all received some Krishna consciousness connection with our gurus because of Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, because of that magnanimous and free, loving spirit that he had. And this was the desire of Mahaprabhu, the prediction of Mahaprabhu himself. Prithivire ache jatanagarari gram sarvatra prachar hoibe mor nam, that in every town and village my name will be chanted. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he also predicted in the next 50 years. And Gurudev, he expressed, you know, when I joined the Math, you know, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gave that prediction, and he started that movement, you know, sending that book on the life and teachings of Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya. And then Srila Saraswati Thakur, he like took another step in trying to spread that. He sent the first preachers to the West. He was also planning himself to spend the last years of his life in America. But it never happened, and the preaching that took place in London and Germany also, it had very limited success. So when Gurudev came as a teenager to join the Math, he was hearing about this, you know, hearing this prediction of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but he thought, you know, this is not possible, you know, within 50 years, you know, how is this possible? Maybe sometime in the future, you know, sometime in the far distant future. But, and so Gurudev, he expressed his great joy and his astonishment that you know, through the dedication of Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, such a miraculous thing took place. Gurudev liked to say so many times, he said, he blasted a tunnel in the mountain of ego, the mountain of ego of the Western world. Maybe it was first when he went to Caracas, and he was inspired because he went through some very long tunnels. And he was inspired, and he made a comment to that. I don't know if it was the first time he made it, but he made some comparison at that time. He went through these long tunnels. And his life is such a great example for us in so many different ways. You know, how much he tolerated, you know, and you know how much trouble he went to spread Krishna consciousness, you know, like so many things. And he was also the last person that anyone would expect would be the one to fulfill this great prediction. He was a grihasta. He was in the background of the Gaudiya Math. He actually had just like a few days of association with his guru, with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. I think it was about altogether about 10 days association, in the, you know, from the time that he met him. When was it? Maybe 1922 that he first met him, and he wasn't very interested actually. He was involved in Gandhi's movement, and he was concerned with the free, you know, that India will become independent and these matters, political matters. But he had a friend who was visiting the Gaudiya Math and had some relationship with the devotees there. He was a wealthy man. He was giving donations there, and he pulled Swami Maharaj, please, you come and meet this sadhu. And Swami Maharaj wasn't so inclined. And of course, this is his Leela, showing himself like that. But it was his friend, and he pulled him, so he went. And because this man was giving good donations, he could have like they would give him direct entrance to see Srila Saraswati Thakur. And so they had a personal meeting, and everybody knows this story, but it's nice to Jai Sripad Bhakti Vigraha Nyasi Maharaj ki Jai. Wow, I was wondering if you were going to make it. Amazing. Srila Swami Maharaj must have wanted you here. Jai.
Hari, wow, Tulsi Devi ki Jai.
Jai. Maharaj, are you up for speaking a few words?
Wow. Yeah, I'm a little tired, but I can, yeah.
Yeah, please, a few words, and then we want to do Pushpanjali.
Okay. Jai Hriday. Jai Shri Maharaj. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Let me just think. Well, okay. Gurvavista Subhuragam Guru Gurnaya Shisa Sambhushitam Shantyachancha Samasta Vedin Purnam Sri Rupa Pandanagam Govindavinam Ujjalam Varatanam Bhaktanvitam Sundaram Bande Vishwaguruncha Divya Bhagavat Premno Hibija Param Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Swami Sri Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupadaya Te Namaha Gurvagyam Shri Sri Ditva Shaktya Swarupine Hare Krishneti Mantrena Paschatya Prachatarane Visvacharya Pravaryaya Dibya Karunya Murtaye Sri Bhagavata Madhurya Gita Jnana Pradayine Gaura Sri Rupa Siddhanta Saraswati Nishevine Radha Krishna Padambojo Bringaya Gurave Namaha Devam Divitunam Sujandravardhanam Balarkachilanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sat Ekavardhanam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lashitam Saraswatanam Varam Bandetvam Shubhadam Adeka Sharanam Yashishvaram Sridharam. Jai. So Srila Prabhupada's appearance day, I think it's not accidental that Srila Prabhupada appeared on, the day after Janmashtami on Nandotsava. He was always, closely attached to Krishna consciousness and heard from his mother many stories about Krishna. And though in his early days was particularly attached to Lord Jagannath. And of course, Jagannath is Krishna, who goes from Kurukshetra to Nilachala, and has his pastime in that way. And anyway, Srila Prabhupada was doing Rath Yatra in Calcutta from like age 5, organizing all his friends. Prabhupada was the organizer, and organizing all his friends, having Rath Yatra. And he had a particular affinity for Lord Jagannath. And I don't know if I told the story. Have I told the story about Prabhupada and Lord Jagannath? Maybe not. No? Anyway, yeah. So this was maybe 1967. The devotees had just gone. I was still in full illusion at that time. But anyway, the devotees had gone to San Francisco from New York. There was just New York Temple. And then they went to San Francisco because that was, the place that was the hippie center of the world practically. And maybe you heard the song, if you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear a flower in your hair. That kind of thing. And
how old we are now?
yeah, anyway, so Srila Prabhupada went there and the devotees went there. And while Srila Prabhupada was there, one of the devotees, I'm not sure who it was, I can't remember, but one of the devotees found a little, what she thought was just an interesting doll in a...
It was Janaki.
Yeah, in a... who? Janaki.
I believe. I think I'm right.
Anyway, an interesting doll in an Indian shop brought it to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada immediately said, "Are there two more?" And are there two more? Were there two more of them? She said, "Yeah, I think so." She said, "Go get them." So immediately she went and got them, brought them back, and Srila Prabhupada said, "Jagannath has come." So it's like Jagannath appeared. I didn't even know if they had any deities in New York at the time. Jagannath appeared as like Prabhupada's, at least one of his first deities. And from then on, when we had temples, new temples, the first deities we installed were Jagannath. That was Srila Prabhupada's order, because he had some great love and affection for Lord Jagannath. That's one story that I remember. And then, Srila Prabhupada, have we read anything of his writings on the boat on the Jali Dutta?
No, we were just we didn't get so far.
Just starting to discuss. Yeah. Anyway, Srila Guru Maharaj told that in his writings on the Jali Dutta, he kind of revealed his eternal, at least for some time, position in the transcendental realm by calling Krishna his friend, and saying, your beloved, who is like represented perfectly by Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, this beloved has asked me to fulfill a mission. So if you want to please your beloved, you must help me with this mission. He's telling Krishna that. So, that's, Srila Guru Maharaj immediately saw, well, this is indicative that he's, he wants to go to Sakyarasa. He probably could have gone wherever, because he's in the line from Rupa Goswami and Saraswati Thakur and, Shiksha disciple of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And anyway, he probably went to Sakyarasa, or return to help his disciples, which he said he was going to do that. So I don't know, but where was I? Srila Prabhupada. What was the story I just told? Oh, the Jali Dutta. Right. So so Prabhupada's on the Jali Dutta, and he had, the story, but it's no harm to repeat it, that he had, I think, 3 heart attacks on the Jali Dutta. I mean, heart attacks, that's, heavy. When you have a heart attack, it's like, you can die. And it's like, it's an indicator that you're probably going to have other ones that may kill you. And he had 3. So, it's like a normal person would think, oh, wow, this is like I have to prepare for the end or something. But rather than that, Srila Prabhupada came with great energy. First saw Boston and wrote his poem about how hellish everything is. Yeah. Why you send me here, Krishna? This is a hellish place. And then he goes to New York, and with a box of books, somehow or other, and, $15 or something, he somehow or other gets his books and his money in his suitcase and everything out to Pennsylvania to stay with, I guess this Agarwal maybe met him and brought him to Pennsylvania. He stayed there for some time. I think he got some money from Agarwala, and then came to New York and was, living in New York on, it was Riverside Drive at 84th Street. And a year later, when Prabhupada had gone to the East Village, I had a girlfriend who lived at 86th Street in Riverside Drive. So I probably walked by Prabhupada's place. But, I think he was gone. But later, I did go by several times, and at first didn't notice it, and then kind of noticed it, but, felt a little scared. And anyway, so Srila Prabhupada is in this place. It's a yogi's place, and the yogis attracting all kinds of rich Upper East Siders, and because that's, Upper East Siders, Upper West Siders also, New York is kind of divided by Central Park. On the east side is the really rich people. On the west side was the kind of medium or low-income people, but now the west side has become hip. So it's a whole different place. My brother lived at 86 in Columbus, which is kind of a bit of a dive area. He thought he would just live in a lower class area to, I don't know, set some kind of example. But now it's really expensive. It's a high class area. New York's changed. But anyway, Srila Prabhupada was 3 blocks away, living in one small room and teaching a few classes at this yoga center. And finally the yogi guy realized that what Srila Prabhupada is giving is, not compatible with what he's delivering. Srila Prabhupada is talking about theistic Krishna consciousness. And this guy is a standard Hindu Shmindu guy talking about it's all one, we're all Brahman, Krishna comes from Brahman. Like Prabhupada writes in the Gita, Krishna is a material manifestation that has appeared in this world from Brahman. That's what they say. He may be the highest manifestation, but he's still a material manifestation. Anyway, this guy kicked him out, and Srila Prabhupada was alone. He heard that there was a lot of kind of desperate people in the Lower East Side around the Bowery. He went there, found the kid, stayed at the kid's house. The kid was a heavy acid head and was stoned out and crazy half the time. He wasn't a vegetarian. Prabhupada had to keep his food in the same fridge as meat and things. He had to do great austerities. And finally the guy went nuts and kicked Srila Prabhupada out. Somehow or other, in the course of that time, he's thinking that that he can't make it. It's not going to work. He's been there for almost a year, and he doesn't even have a place. He's struggling. So he decides that he's going to go back. And from what I've heard, he's walking to make the arrangements to leave, and up comes this Howard Wheeler, who is, I think, a professor at NYU or something like that, nearby, a university nearby in Greenwich Village. And anyway, Howard Wheeler, who becomes Hayagriva Das, loves Srila Prabhupada and has all kinds of contacts in the hippie community. They get a storefront and everything kind of explodes from there. And it so happens that in 1968, I went to a cafe with my girlfriend, and Allen Ginsberg was there with a harmonium, chanting Hare Krishna. And I didn't know what it was, but he said, chant along, so we all kind of chanted along, sitting at the table, and probably ordering hamburgers and stuff, but anyway, I was exposed to that. And earlier, when I was in high school, I was really into being rejecting the material world, the status type thing that my parents were into, the middle class, fine cars, all that. So I liked the really kind of grubby, low people. So I had an album from a group in New York called The Fugs, and The Fugs, yeah, and they sang all kinds of really crazy songs. But on the album they chanted Hare Krishna, and I was down in my basement listening to all these crazy rebellious songs, and then I'm listening to Hare Krishna. So who knows how that is obviously coming from Srila Prabhupada. So who knows how that has effects. And so the center in the Lower East Side grows and grows and grows, and then it expands to Boston, and then from Boston, I think next they opened Buffalo, which was the center of New York University. And from there, Rupanuga, who was an early devotee, made several devotees who later became big leaders in ISKCON. And some went to Montreal and some went to Detroit, where I met the devotees. And I first started walking by them in 1969 in the fall, and finally got it back to Godhead, and it was Srila Prabhupada's writing Beyond the Universe. And You know, I read it and it was like, you know, there's life here. You know, this is what, you know, this is what I've been sensing. This is what I feel inside, and there it is, right there expressed. It was like, you know, reality just bam, right in front of me, and it was, you know, Srila Prabhupada's potency. And at that time, you know, the centers were, Detroit was like maybe the 6th or 8th center or something, but everything was very kind of strict. Everybody, the grihastas, everybody stayed in the temple, and everybody, you know, was fully engaged day and night in service. And Srila Prabhupada developed his mission like that up until his departure, to the point where he had 100 centers and 3,000 disciples. And practically, I would say like 99% of them were like day and night, fully engaged in temples, going on Harinam, distributing books. And it was, you know, it was dynamic, because that was a time when everybody was kind of seeking. The whole thrust of the hippie movement, which I think was generated by Srila Prabhupada, I really do. The whole thrust of it was like to seek truth, to find something that's, you know, that's beyond ordinary material life. And there was a lot of nonsense involved in it, but the thrust, the real thrust was for that. And many, many people joined from that hippie movement, which kind of burned out in the end in the 70s. But anyway, Srila Prabhupada, somehow or other, by the power of, you know, his devotion, Srila Sridhar Maharaj said he emptied himself fully. You know, what that means, we, you know, can kind of grasp a little bit. But, you know, who knows what kind of consciousness that is. He had nothing in his consciousness except the order of his guru. Bring Krishna consciousness to the English-speaking people. And intelligently, he's thinking, I'll go to America, because from there, the culture is spreading all over the world. So if I go to America, then things will spread. And sure enough, he sent devotees to London just before I joined in 1969. And very shortly after that, they met the Beatles and started to get people coming, got some money, got a place right downtown in, not Soho Street that they have now, but downtown in,
Bedford Street.
Where is it?
I think it's Bedford Street or Bedford Place.
Yeah, anyway, it was, yeah, it was a long, I remember seeing pictures, it was a long temple room, and I believe they got deities there finally, and you know, Srila Prabhupada came, and then from London, the mission spread into Europe, and, you know, I just kind of want to describe, you know, what it was like to, you know, to be there. I think, you know, right now in our Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math, the kind of like family spirit that we have, because we're kind of small, is very similar to what we were feeling in the time of Srila Prabhupada. It felt, you know, like I said earlier, we were all together, and the thrust was spiritual. We wanted spiritual life. We wanted, you know, the ideal that Srila Sridhar Maharaj talks about. Everybody wanted it, and so everything else was secondary. You know, we didn't have to change our dress. We just dressed how, you know, Prabhupada wanted us to dress. We didn't have to change anything in the books, you know. We just followed what Srila Prabhupada said. Didn't matter, really. Who cares about how the society is ordered? Who cares about whether someone's a Sudra or someone's a Brahmin, or whether someone's a man or someone's a woman with different duties and things? You know, the idea, well, you know, who cares? We're involved in spiritual life. And that was the idea. And I find that here in Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math, of course in a different kind of context, because we're actually dealing with Krishna consciousness by, you know, at least for me, and I think for most people that have come in contact, by the arrangement of Srila Prabhupada, we've got the shelter of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and we're dealing with Krishna consciousness in an approach, in a way that was that has been laid out by them in a different way than Srila Prabhupada arranged things. You know, so sometimes people see that they think there's a contradiction between what Srila Prabhupada gave and the structure that he built and what we're doing in Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math. And, you know, my vision, my understanding of it is, as someone who like went through it all, is that actually we have a very similar spirit to the spirit that was there in the beginning, but we're dealing with a different type of devotion, a different approach to devotion that's based now on, you know, emptying ourselves. Whereas before, really, Prabhupada encouraged us, you know, become blissful, get the nectar, find that everybody was like, yeah, we're going to get the nectar, we're nectar hounds. I remember there was a group of brahmacharis in the Chicago temple, and they were like the nectar hound group. And they would go through Prabhupada's books and find nectarine pieces and like quote them back and forth all day long, which was kind of cool. But they were the nectar hounds. And, you know, it was just like, wow, we're tasting nectar. It's unbelievable. Whoa. And, you know, and the book distributors were thinking, we're getting the highest nectar because Prabhupada wants book distribution. We're just getting the best nectar because we're doing the best thing. And the Pacharyas are thinking, well, I mean, the book distributors are doing the best thing, but we're really dealing, you know, directly with Krishna. So actually, we're a little better. You know, and everybody's thinking like, and the cooks are thinking, well, you know, they have to eat, and we're feeding them. So, you know. So it's kind of like that. Everybody's like, has a particular motive, which Srila Prabhupada encouraged. He was so expert in like reaching, like it says that the guru comes down to the Madhyama platform and reaches down to the devotees, because on the Madhyama platform you see distinction, you see suffering, you see the material world is not a nice place. The Uttama platform, everything is Krishna. Everything is beautiful, everything is wonderful. And it's real, no doubt. And, but the Sahajas imagine that plane and, you know, come with, you know, everything is one, everything is beautiful, everything is, all the gurus are the same, and, you know, so much like rubbish like that comes as a result of like what was I saying? The distortion of you know, of the Uttama platform. Anyway, the guru comes to the Madhyama platform and reaches deep down into the you know, into the muck to help us. And Srila Prabhupada was so expert by the arrangement of Nityananda, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj told us. He was so expert that he knew exactly how to, you know, like somehow from a distance, hundreds of people engaged like fully in different projects, in different cities all over the world. He's like directing them in their hearts and also writing letters. Like I found this, this thing online that they've done research into all the Prabhupada's letters, and there's a section that says, Srila Prabhupada instructs Sri Govinda Das. And there's like 29 letters, you know, he's instructed me about managing, what to do, because I had so many problems with other devotees who, you know, were objecting to the way I was managing, and I wrote to Srila Prabhupada, and, you know, so many things. One thing that was really cool is some brahmacharis thought, aha, we're going to, you know, distribute more books than anyone. That was like everyone wanted to do that. And we in Chicago were pretty much ahead most of the time, but not all the time. And so they decided, we're going to worship Ganesh. And I said, you know, I don't know if you can do that. You know, I'll write to Srila Prabhupada. I don't think you can do that. And so they actually started it, you know, Om Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Ganeshaya Namaha, let us distribute books, Namaha, you know, like that. And I wrote to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada wrote back, yes, they may worship Ganesh, but they must send me $100,000 each month.
They must send Ganesh?
No, they must send Prabhupada $100,000, the boys who are worshiping Ganesh. Yeah, and you know, it means like you're really worshiping Ganesh and it's really coming through. It's not just like some slough-off thing where you're getting a couple thousand or something. So, you know, and so, of course, they abandoned the Ganesh worship.
And you told another nice one, some devotees were like telling some lies.
Oh, right, that's a good one, yeah. Yeah, anyway, as you guys may have heard, in ISKCON they developed in distributing books because Prabhupada wanted so many books distributed, and we did distribute tens of thousands of Prabhupada's books. But to distribute them, more of them, some devotees like developed this kind of hype lines, like, where are you coming in from? Oh, I'm from Albuquerque. I'm from Albuquerque too. You know, yeah, hey, take this book. It's about Albuquerque, or you know, something like that. And then they get out their wallet, and then they say, oh man, I got her 10, you got her 20, can you give me 2 10s for 20? I'll give you 1 10 for 4 5s and this and that. And then they wind up with the 20 and keep it. And so, you know, anyway, so they were doing this. And I wrote to Srila Prabhupada and I said, I don't think they can, you know, I don't think it's good that they do this for the, you know, the good of our mission. We're going to get a really bad reputation. And Srila Prabhupada wrote back, you know, actually, if you talk about Krishna, you cannot tell a lie because Krishna can do anything. But you should not tell, I think he said, ordinary lies. And he said that one can lie only if one is on the level of Yudhisthira Maharaj. And even he, when he said, you know, Aswatthama, the elephant, his chariot touched the ground. So it's a little dangerous. So that Prabhupada wrote that, and I thought, okay, it's done, Yudhisthira Maharaj. And then the guy who's the GBC in Los Angeles, in charge of this party that they sent to Chicago to, you know, take advantage of the airport that we opened. Anyway, he says, only 2 devotees are on the level of Yudhisthira Maharaj. The party leader and the party assistant. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? You know, so it was, you know, it was bizarre like that in many ways, because we were all just beginners. We didn't know what to do, but Prabhupada knew how to engage everyone. Everyone felt like, I have a personal relationship with him. And so many people wrote letters, and Prabhupada replied, questions, philosophical questions, he replied. He would basically do something like Srila Govinda Maharaj was, hear the letter and then say some comment on the letter, and then it would be written by his secretary, and then his secretary would read it back to him to confirm that it was correct. And so the letters came out like that. But there's a whole, like I think, 6-volume set of Srila Prabhupada's letters, and I think it's online. And yeah, you know, so many different letters about philosophical questions, practical applications, so many things like that. And what Srila Prabhupada gave was, you know, he was taking a bunch of, like, you know, people who like a week before were completely stoned out and, you know, involved in, you know, communal lifestyle where anything goes, and suddenly they're in the temple. He's taking those kinds of people and getting them to follow regular principles, to get up at, you know, 3:30 in the morning, stay up all day, and, you know, but he did it. Somehow or other he did it, and the structure was actually very, like, rigid and strict, and we followed that structure, and it saved us, no doubt. You know, that structure was there, given by Srila Prabhupada for a specific purpose, which I don't think was limited by the time. It was particularly effective for that time, no doubt. But, you know, I think Srila Prabhupada is reaching to the broad masses and trying to bring people in, you know, whether or not they've accumulated enough sukriti or whatever. He wants to bring people in and give them a chance. And that's what ISKCON generally is doing. Though, of course, there's, you know, so many questions about what's happened there, and I don't even want to get into that. But anyway, it was Prabhupada's objective that, you know, ISKCON be like that. And, you know, of course, we know when Prabhupada departed, there's all these, like, rumors about, you know, these devotees wanted to poison him and this and that. And I knew every one of those devotees that was surrounding Srila Prabhupada, and I knew they all loved him. So that any kind of story like that is completely out of the question. Have any of you guys heard of that?
Yeah.
No. I'm glad most of you haven't. Have you heard of it, Ramananda? Yeah. Anyway, it's not possible. It's absolutely impossible.
The Vaishnavas, they are leaving the world when they decide to do the material thing.
Right, exactly. And, you know, those devotees, everyone loved Srila Prabhupada. There's no question of that. And arsenic was, and Prabhupada took so many Ayurvedic medicines through his whole life, so he had a little arsenic in his hair follicle or something. So therefore he's been poisoned with arsenic. But it's not, you know, it's just not the case. Anyway, so Srila Prabhupada, with great energy, unbelievable energy, like traveling from temple to temple to temple, and particularly in India, that's super. But his purity of motive was perfect. And, you know, he just, because of that, everything came in a miraculous way. And the name of Krishna and the potency and the power of developing in Krishna consciousness was set in motion by Srila Prabhupada. And the direction in which Srila Prabhupada, you know, sent the devotees to learn about, you know, what it is to deal with the second stage of Krishna consciousness, the die to live stage, like Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, to learn from Srila Sridhar Maharaj, to understand, you know, you come to a point after 6 or 8, 9 years in Krishna consciousness, you feel empty, you feel like you don't have anything. And, you know, Srila Sridhar Maharaj tells us that's what you're supposed to feel. Because, you know, the old, I want the bliss just doesn't work anymore. You know, and most people don't understand that. So I've noticed, I've analyzed it. I may be a little off, but not, you know, it may not apply to everybody. But generally, one section has like retreated back into the you know, the strict rules and regulations that were there in the early days. And if you follow the strict rules and regulations, if you chant 16 rounds and you stay in ISKCON, you'll go back to Godhead. That's the, like, ongoing thing. What? What's happening?
I mean, there is...
Oh, it's being broadcast. Oh. Well, anyway, you know, this is... I'm a devotee. I'm Prabhupada's disciple, I can say. You know, and, you know, if they want to object, they can object. But then there's a section of devotees who were feeling, oh, we don't have the bliss. We don't have the bliss. And then some bogus guru comes along and says, you can have the bliss again by, you know, reading about the high pastimes of Rupa Goswami. That's what you're missing. You know, it will give you the bliss. And you'll be able to progress. And so a bunch of them ran in that direction. And some got the shelter of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. That's, you know, how I see it. And there's others who are, you know, progressing seriously with devotion and dedication to Srila Prabhupada, who have appreciation for Srila Sridhar Maharaj, who are, you know, outside following Srila Prabhupada carefully, but without any offense to Srila Sridhar Maharaj or Srila Govinda Maharaj. There's a bunch of devotees like that. But generally, structurally, that's, you know, generally what's happened. Anyway, you know, that's neither here nor there, but it's just to kind of inform everybody what is the position of the development or, you know, different kind of developments in Krishna consciousness, and how we as disciples of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat can, you know, can relate to them and understand them. I think it's necessary because we'll run into people who are, you know, who are involved with stuff like this. Anyway, so Srila Prabhupada, you know, it's hard to imagine. Like when I said the prayers, first to Srila Govinda Maharaj, then to Srila Prabhupada, then to Srila Guru Maharaj. I did that because that's me. I think I have, you know, I have the inner approval to do something like that. Maybe not everyone would do that because it's not really sampradaic or anything, but it's heart progression. And I know I was praying, you know, do I say Prabhupada's prayer after Srila Sridhar Maharaj or what? And, you know, because it's in the line, Govinda Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Nirmalacharya Maharaj, Srila Govinda Maharaj, and so on. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Saraswati Thakur, this is our line. And then I thought, well, you know, just to pop Prabhupada in doesn't work for me. It may work for saying the Jai Om prayers and everything else generally for our mission. But for me, I prayed, and, you know, it came that Srila Prabhupada would want to be under Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and Srila Govinda Maharaj would want Srila Prabhupada over him. So I did like that. And I guess people can't imitate. But you know, because there's some concern. There was some concern on Srila Govinda Maharaj's part that you know, distortions not develop in relation to the understanding of the, you know, progression of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math disciplic succession. Yeah, so he felt like that. So even, and also I think a bit out of humility, he didn't have his prayer to Srila Prabhupada included in the prayer book. But, you know, I say it every day, and it's very amazing. You know, Srila Prabhupada told me directly, you've heard the story, but me directly, those prayers that they say are not correct Sanskrit. One day, one of my disciples will make it correct. Directly. Said it. Nobody's done it. Srila Govinda Maharaj did it in 1984 or something. It's done, it's perfect, it's there, and anybody can take to it. I sent it to a few disciples who are like amazed and are going to use, you know, are going to use it. But practically, the structure doesn't like to accept it. They think it's political. So, you know, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale. And then, which is the same, then proper Sanskrit, Swami Shri Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupadaya Te Nama. You know, he's very dear to Lord Krishna and very dear on this earth to Lord Krishna. Krishna Sai Bhuli Swami Shri Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupadaya Te Nama. Gurvagyam Shri Sri Dvitva Shaktyavesha Swarupine. He's fully dedicated to his guru, and Shaktivesh, avatar, Shaktivesha Swarupini. He's the form of an avatar, Shaktivesha avatar. Shaktivesha avatar. I know it in order, but I don't know it piece by piece. Let's see. Shaktivesha Swarupine, Hari Krishneti Mantrena, Paschatya Huh?
Do you want to see it in front of you? Actually, it's not.
Not there. No, it's okay. I'll remember. I just have to go back a little bit now and then. Okay. Hare Krishneti Mantrena Paschatya Prachatarane. That's like revolutionary, beautiful. I mean, anybody who's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada who sees that, you know, his heart should melt. And some of my godbrothers, they said their hearts have melted for Srila Govinda Maharaj, hearing that. You know, he spread the Hare Krishna mantra. You know, the original prayer says, Paschatya Desha Tarane, in the West. He spread Krishna consciousness in the land of the West. But Guru Dev says, Paschatya Prachatarane, in the East, the West and the East. Which is right. He's completely changed the face of India. I know it, I've seen it, there's no doubt about it. And, you know, India in 1970, you know, like I've said, was completely, going in the wrong direction. Very few of the people who were exposed to like modern Western culture had any interest in the old religion because they thought it was like, backward. A lot of people were like that. And, then over time, first the mission in India kind of struggled, and eventually it made contacts and got big support from different people in big places, and it just boomed. And now, religion is at the central front of, the middle class life all over India. That's, I have, no doubt Srila Prabhupada is at least largely responsible for that. So, Paschatya Prachatarne, Visvacharya Pavaryaya, Divya Karunya Murtaye. So, he's the divine image of mercy, the divine form, incarnation of mercy. Visvacharya, he's the universal guru that's preaching all over the universe. Visvacharya Pravarya Divya Karunya Murtaye Sri Bhagavata Madhurya. He's giving the sweet nectar of the Bhagavatam, Gita Jnana Pradayane, the knowledge of the Gita he's preaching. Gita Jnana Pradayane. What's next? Gauda Sri Rupa Siddhanta Saraswati Nishevine. So, in the service of the Gaudiya line with Rupa Goswami and Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Siddhanta Saraswati in the service of them, Radha Krishna Padam Bojo Bringaya Gurave Nama. He is the bee at the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. I mean, my gosh, unbelievable. Srila Govinda Maharaj knew him, loved him, and I knew him better than, practically anyone on the planet. Maybe Srila Sridhar Maharaj knew him better. But Srila Govinda Maharaj knew him, so well. He stayed with him for so many years, heard Bhagavad Gita daily from him, and, he was certainly as much of a disciple of Srila Prabhupada as any of us. He felt that. And if he felt that and said it, it must be so. That's just the way it is. He's a Paramhansa guru. It must be so. So the legacy of the inner effect of Srila Prabhupada's mission is like in critical condition. And we in Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math actually are really carrying the main weight of that. Maybe others in a few places are doing it, but generally, this is what's going on. We're actually carrying on what Srila Prabhupada intended. And why do I know that? Because I feel it. It's in the life, it's in the family, it's in the situation. There's no question. This is like the energy that Srila Prabhupada intended. This is the kind of life that Srila Prabhupada intended. However, I may fall short of that, isn't really relevant because it's going on. And, my, inconsistencies and problems are really insignificant in relation to the power of the progress that is going on. And each one of our own problems really are insignificant. They will fall away. Srila Govinda Maharaj has told us that. And that's not our focus. Our focus is on, taking apart our false ego, developing a real deep attitude of service and, love for our gurus and for the Vaishnavas around us. We're so fortunate to be able to do that. And this was really there. In the early days with Srila Prabhupada, we just loved each other. We were together and everyone was serving. And it's like that now. It's just really amazing. How, I'm talking. Oh my gosh, I'm really talking. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Pushpanjali Arti. Okay. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Avirbhava Mahamahotsava Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Janma Ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Shiksha, disciple of Srila Bhakti Rakha Hriday Goswami, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shiksha Guru of Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. I could go on, but I won't.
Yes.
We can go on all day. And we will sit here and listen.
Okay.
We can continue the glorification.
Well, I gotta sleep for a while.
No, I mean tomorrow morning.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charja Maharaj Ki Jai.